the best and worst things about each and every Zombies map from the Golden Era. That's World at War through Black Ops 3. And please don't take offense to that if you're a Cold War Zombies fan. It's just, in my opinion, the Golden Era so far stopped at Black Ops 3. Nocturne Totem I have to love because it birthed this entire mode for us all. It also has a special place in my heart because I have a very fond memory of watching my brother finish the World at War campaign and actually seeing this for the very first time, and both of us simultaneously shitting bricks. But I hate Nocturne Totem purely for the fact that the Black Ops 1 version has, after the Resurrection update, only one perk, and it's Mule Kick. It's literally just fucking Mule Kick. That is beyond criminal behavior. Verruckt I love because it conveys the most sinister tone through what is without doubt the most spine-chilling atmosphere. What I hate about Verruckt is that we were clickbaited into believing that we'll be getting mounted MGs. And those mounted MGs, just like my dad, were shown once and never came back. What I love about Shinonuma is that it brought us the original forecast for the very first time. What I hate about Shinonuma is that they decided to introduce us to slow movement through the swamps in a game where zombies have Gorilla Glue quite literally on their hands. It was the most lethal combination. What I love about Doris is that it introduced us to the Pack-a-Punch machine, and teleporters for that matter. But what I hate about Doris, which really isn't much, is that even though Shinonuma didn't have a Juggernaut glitch with the Wunderwaffe, for some unknown reason, Doris introduced it. I really don't know how they pulled that off. For being penalized for using what is probably one of the coolest weapons ever in one of the coolest maps ever definitely sucks tremendous ass. What I love about Kino de Toten is that it solidified itself as a more iconic Doris. It didn't try to rewrite the entire formula, but instead brought that same heavy hitting punch that Doris brought, but in a fresh and updated package that felt so amazing to play. What I hate about Kino de Toten is specifically the explosion of a Nova Crawler when you shoot it. I honestly think it would have been way better if it was just a small damage tick and blurry vision when you walk through the gas. What I love about 5 is the introduction of elevators and the amount of fun you could have with friends in the process. Trapping them behind the elevator door as you close it was just, it never got old. It was the funniest shit ever, and I honestly think because of that, alongside the sheer fear that was brought to us from the Pentagon Thief, some of my fondest memories with friends were on 5. But what I hate about 5 is the fact that in those basement teleporters, man, the ones in the corners, man, I didn't know where I was going, and more often than not, I just throw myself straight into certain death, which, you know, isn't very cute. What I love about Ascension were the facility announcements. I can't explain why, but it just gave this proper nice atmospheric tone to the map and really gave Ascension its own identity and character. What I hate about Ascension though are those motherfucking space monkeys that just stop you wanting to even bother getting any more than 2 perks at a time. What I love about Call of the Dead is the sound design, namely the atmospheric sounds that play and the ambient music that also plays in the background whilst you play the map. It just adds so much depth to the feeling that we the players get from playing it. But what I hate about Call of the Dead is that George Romero spawns back way too quickly. It takes so much effort to kill him that unless you've done the Easter egg to make it spawn a Wunderwaffe, it just doesn't seem worth it, and you're left just letting him parade around the map and constantly interfering with your ability to survive. But not in a cool, challenging way, more in just a this is really bloody annoying way. Though I think this could have been made so much better if George Romero only spawned 5 rounds after you've killed him as opposed to 2. But I know anyone that loves getting the Wunderwaffe is going to hate me for saying that. What I love about Shangri-La is the new enemy types. The drop-stealing monkeys added a fun sense of urgency to the gameplay. The Shriekers were absolutely terrifying, and the Napalm Zombies, they were just a breath of fresh air to the gameplay loop and general challenge of zombies in general. All 3 combined, however, made a hell of a good time with friends. I remember everyone just shouting down the mic whenever they saw these things. One thing that I hated about Shangri-La though was activating the Pack-a-Punch, particularly in co-op, because the idea alone of needing group coordination just to access Pack-a-Punch, especially in a game that you might want to play with randoms, is just a recipe for disaster for obvious reasons. There was always that one person who just didn't get it. What I loved about Moon was unquestionably the ending of the Easter egg. I will genuinely never forget the first time I was doing it. It was truly a mesmerizing sight, and still is when you play the Zombie Chronicles version, and even going to Area 51 after the blast was just so it was just mind-bending at the time. But what I hate about Moon is the RNG specifically involved in the excavator digging up Tunnel 6. Okay, so sometimes you don't want to compromise Tunnel 11 on the Biodome, right? But I gotta say, Zelensky did a bloody good job of punishing you for that. I've legit had some games where by continuously saving the Biodome and Tunnel 11, I'm hitting the round 20s or 30s without Tunnel 6 even being called once, meaning that to start the Easter egg that late in the game, I actually have to wait for the excavator to ruin the biodome and Tunnel 11 at the same time just to get Tunnel 6 to be the only option left. It's honestly ridiculous. What I love about transit is definitely the transit bus. I love Ted. I love trapping my friends outside of the doors. I love the fact that it's an upgradable vehicle as well. And just in general, experiencing a moving vehicle and being in it for the first time in Zombies was so much fun. But what I hate about transit, it's not actually the denizens, it's actually the fact that town doesn't have a wall buy. It's genuinely a problem. What I loved about Nuketown was just the general concept of having one of the most iconic multiplayer maps in history being a zombies map. But what I hate about Nuketown is that the population counter does not correlate in any way to the perks dropping from the sky. What I love about Die Rise is the skybox and the vista from the top of the roofs. What I hate about Die Rise is almost every other aspect of the fucking map. Something to love about Mob of the Dead is flying to the Golden Gate Bridge. But one thing I hate about Mob of the Dead is that, in my opinion, it started the trend of zombies maps having incredibly convoluted setup processes. There's just way too much work to do the most simple things. Something I love about Buried is without doubt the Remington new model army pistol. What a gun. But what I hate about Buried is Arthur. It just is Arthur. Don't like him. To me, that fella's nothing but an inconvenience, and honestly just really breaks the feel of the map, and he just doesn't really fit, in my opinion. I mean, yeah, I see the irony in saying that. Yeah, he doesn't fit. He's large. Haha, XD. But what I mean is the general gameplay of the map, I just feel like it would have been better without him. I don't like the features that he brought to the table. I just don't like Arthur. Okay, can you tell? I don't like him. Something I love about Origins is the sheer caliber of the art design. Visually, this map is one of the greatest Call of Duty experiences ever made. It is such a sight to behold. But something I absolutely hate about Origins is that no matter how many players there are in the game, you still have to build and upgrade all 4 staffs for the Easter egg. It would have been nice if in solo especially that was reduced, halved, or maybe even just correlating to the number of players in the game. Something I love about Shadows of Evil was the general aesthetic of the map itself. Stylistically, it was a huge breath of fresh air to the entire world of COD Zombies, and like Origins, I just think the art team did an unbelievable job of just knocking this one out of the park, both in terms of environment and also in terms of enemy types. But what I can't forgive Shadows of Evil for doing was having an Easter egg, the only Easter egg for that matter in Black Ops 3, that requires 4 players. Something I love about the Giant was the addition of snow to the remake of Derice. Somehow this change in weather alone, it just felt so nice. And playing it for the first time as a teenager just hit home a little bit, as I was only a kid when I was first playing Derice. Teenage Kunjora was just filled with warmth playing Derice in the snow. I can't quite explain it. It just felt right. But one thing that I didn't like about the Giant is that I feel like it had a very confused identity. It didn't feel much like a remaster because, of course, there was Black Ops 3 weapons and a slightly switched up aesthetic. But if it wasn't going to be like a true remaster with some classic weapons thrown in there, besides, I know we did get a new Wunderwaffe, they should have taken the angle of maybe expanding the map a little bit, adding some new secret areas, or maybe just something more substantial in the way of a new main or side Easter egg. Of course, we did get the Annihilator and also the reveal of a 5th perk machine, but overall, I just feel like its identity was a bit lost. One thing I love about the Eisendrache is the bows. We have to talk about the bows. The elemental bows in the Eisendrache was just incredible. I also love all of the steps to acquire them, and yes, I do actually enjoy building the firebow. I truly love every single thing that they did in terms of the elemental bows in this map. Something that I hate about the Eisendrache is I'm not gonna lie, I'm struggling here. I guess if I had to pick one, I do think the shock grenades that the Panzers shoot in the boss fight are just crazy overpowered. I mean, there's just way too many of them, but I also kind of like the challenge. But maybe dial it back just a little bit. Maybe make them shoot 70% of what they do now, because I do think it was pretty overwhelming. Something I love about Zetsubo no Shima was the addition of an extra boss fight in the form of the Spider. I think it was a really cool addition and a very unique way to give us a free Widow's Wine. I think it was just a very cool Easter egg in general. But something that I loathe with a passion from Zetsubo no Shima is that entire plant system. Just get rid of it. No one wants it. No one likes it. Maybe one person does. Maybe one person shouting at their screen right now. But generally speaking, it just ain't it, chief. One thing that I truly love about Gorod Krovi is the entire boss fight and ending of the map. The Easter egg in general for that map is top tier, in my opinion. It's got the right balance of intensity. It's got the right balance of challenge and just general intrigue intrigue with each and every step. But also story-wise, it's an unbelievable experience. But one thing that I don't really like about Gold Crovy, I wouldn't say hate exactly, there's not much to hate about this one. I think it's just generally the map layout. I don't know why, but it never quite sat right with me. It just feels a little like it's a weird blend. It feels open, but it feels like it's an illusion. It's not really open at all. It's actually very claustrophobic, and claustrophobic maps can go really well. You guys know that I love Farouk, but it feels like the positioning of debris and just certain things in this map just feels more like an inconvenience. Like it just bugs you a little bit. And I feel like the general layout could have just had maybe one or two slightly more open areas just to kind of cleanse the palette a little bit. But of course, any real one would just do the entire boss fight and then just pop it anywhere but here and end up in the boss fight arena, because that's one hell of an open space. I'm actually so glad they never patched that glitch, by the way. But last but not least, we come to Revelations, the final map in this golden era of zombies. Now, the thing that I love about Revelations was the skybox and just the sheer mind-blowing nature of the visuals in that map. Accompanying that with the sound design, it actually had a very, very well-made tone. The atmosphere was definitely there in Revelations, but the thing that I hate about it, you guys know what it is that entire freaking Easter egg. And I'm also going to make a special point at hating on the very first step, because I remember the whole community being up in arms trying to figure out step 1 of the Easter egg. It was taking us so long by comparison to how we were solving everything else in the previous maps. We were stuck for days after launch, so long, borderline a week, before we found the first step to the Revelations Easter egg, and it was literally a tiny, seemingly insignificant rock behind a sea of light on a teleport pad. So honestly, what I hate most about Revelations is that rock. And after all of that time and effort of the community banding together to even solve the actual steps for the Easter egg, we were met with the ending and the boss fight. No one was satisfied, and honestly, for good reason, because not only was the cutscene like just not very satisfying at all, the actual boss fight was incredibly underwhelming. And after the string of amazing boss fights that came in Black Ops 3, Revelations' boss fight was just really the equivalent of losing wood before a climax. You know, Treyarch's disappointed in themselves, you're disappointed as the, the player. It's just far from an ideal outcome. So lads, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes my list for the best and worst features of each map from the golden era of COD Zombies. I do hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree with some of my points, but like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you're new, and I'll catch you in my next video and or live stream. Much love, stay safe, and I'll catch you soon. Cheers. Kaboom.